Hi everybody. So this video is to walk you guys through your first essay assignment. And as you guys can see at the top, this has been altered to fit the condensed timeline for the course due to the coronavirus changes that TCC has implemented. So originally, as I said, this unit was 2 weeks. It's now obviously a very short 1 week. So I have streamlined this assignment to make it as easy for you as I can. Um, but essentially, what you're going to do is look at some of the different quote unquote American experiences that you have read about in this unit from these different authors. And I did have to cut out a few different authors, which was a shame. But I did need to get it down to a manageable level for you guys. So I want you to think about one of the authors and works that you read in the unit, and I want you to write a short analysis of that work, looking at least one main literary element within the work. So that could be symbolism, it could be tone, it could be a metaphor, it could be a theme. What you want to write about is up to you. Contextualize that within the larger historical scope. So think about some questions here. Think about how that text or author is showing social, political, or economic changes happening in America. So why does Kate Chopin's It's a Story of an Hour represent some significant shifts in social dynamics for different genders in America, or the understanding of marriage as a social construct? Or how does Whitman's Song of Myself represent this idea of individualism and the new American identity? Think about how the author work fits or doesn't fit within this new quote unquote American identity in the post-war Civil War years. So how does Zit Khalasa fit or not fit with this what we consider a new quote unquote American identity? And then how does the author or work help shape new American ideals? So why does this work matter, in other words? Why is it significant that we read Whitman's Song of Myself? Or why did it matter that Zit Khalasa wrote this the School Days of an Indian Girl? Why is that significant? Why is it important that we study this? But again, the focus is to keep the analysis on the text as a piece of literature. So you want to be mostly and primarily looking at the literary element that you've chosen to write about. Now, that doesn't mean you can't bring in other literary elements. Absolutely. Say you want to talk about symbolism and metaphors, you can do that. I would recommend to try and keep your argument as kind of narrow and focused as possible. Choose a main one. So whether that's symbolism or theme or characterization or whatever it might be, have that be the central focus. And then from there, you can think about other ideas. So again, most importantly, keep the focus on the text. Make sure you have a clear thesis with main ideas. Expand on those with good evidence from the text, and you can ignore this this note here about outside sources. I did change that so that you guys don't have to actually source an outside source. So you're more than welcome to use an outside source if you like, but otherwise just stick with analyzing the text as you have. And then use specific words, phrases, or passages as quotes from the text to show or support what you're talking about. So for example, if my thesis was that Kate Chopin's The Story of an Hour uses the symbolism of the open window to represent the lost freedom of women in a patriarchal society at the turn of the century. Say that's my thesis. I would pull in specific quotes to each of my main ideas that show that concept. So I would look at the idea, her repeated use of the word free, 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 obviously connects to this idea of freedom. I would obviously look at the symbolism of the window. I would look at the the bird outside the window that represents this idea of freedom, whatever it might be. But that's essentially how you pull in specific quotes that help show what you're talking about as evidence. And that will help you expand on that with in-depth analysis. So your essay is shorter than originally intended. It's going to be 1 to 2 pages in length, double-spaced Times New Roman Arial or Cambria 12-point font. That's MLA style, and it's due by Sunday, March 29th at 11:59 p.m. Remember that everything is checked for plagiarism through SafeAssign, and note that when I say 1 page minimum, that does mean to the bottom of the first page at minimum. You are always welcome to write more. You just can't write less or you will lose points. So you will be looking at, you'll be graded on making sure you have good close analysis of the work and its major concepts. Primarily looking at the work as a piece of literature, secondarily thinking about those biographical or historical elements like I do in the lectures. So we keep the focus primarily on analyzing literature as a piece of literature, but we also need to think about why the author's identity or the historical situation is significant. How did it influence the work, or how does the work show what was happening at the time? Making sure you have good concrete evidence to support your claims. Again, and you can do you can choose to use a secondary resource if you like. You don't have to, but make sure that you do have good evidence from the text itself. Proper page length MLA and citations. Fully developed essay structure, including a good intro with a thesis statement, clear main ideas, and a conclusion, and then careful, clear organization of your ideas. So some helpful ideas when writing this essay. Think about characterization. You could think about any of these actually, and I would keep your choice narrowed to really just kind of one or two of these things. But think about characterization. You could think about archetypes, protagonists. Are they developed? Are they flat? Are they round? Are they static? Think about literary devices like similes, personification, irony, metaphors. Think about the dramatic arc. So think about the conflicts as well. So man versus society, man versus self. Think about solutions or resolutions or the denouement. And then think about the point of view or the narrator. Is it first person? Is it third person omniscient? Why does that matter? Think about the literary concepts like theme, symbol, motif, allusion. And then lastly, secondarily, think about the historical situation. So think about the author's bio, think about the historical context around it, the ethical, moral, social, political, economic issues that were happening during this time, so on and so forth. So again, 1 to 2 page essay should be pretty easy for you guys, shouldn't take a lot of time. No sources required. Choose one main literary element and then secondarily think about the historical situation or the biographical situation around it. So let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, go ahead and move on and start writing your essay.